What's up, sports bettors? Alex here, and we're going through how to use a betting exchange to find sharper bets. So this is super valuable information for you. So hopefully you're able to follow along. So the bet we're going to be looking at, I just hammered on WinBet, is the Rangers plus 144 odds, which I hit for 5,000 bucks. And you can see right here, this bet has a 1.82% profit margin on the OddsJam positive EV betting tool, right? So what you'll notice is no other sportsbook's giving us above plus 138. And the sportsbook that's giving us plus 138 is actually the Betfair Exchange, right? So the way an exchange works is you're not betting against the house, right? It's not like betting against WinBet where your action is against WinBet. On the exchanges, you're betting against other people, and you can see what other people are willing to pay or what odds other people are willing to get, right? So the Betfair Exchange is in Europe, so you can't use it in the US. You could arb it if you were in Europe or Australia or something like that, but in the US you can't do that. So it's just a source of information, right? It's just a source of extracting information. So for example, what we can see right here is the Texas Rangers are lay all at 2.42. So this is in decimal odds again, so you're going to have to convert it to American odds. So we can go right here and we can put in decimal odds, 2.42, and you'll see that comes out to plus 142 American odds, right? So what this essentially means is there's some guy out there or some algorithm out there who's willing to buy the Rangers or bet the Rangers at plus 142 odds for 784 bucks. Okay? And then there's somebody who's a little worse, but he's willing to buy the Rangers for 1,739 bucks at 2.44 odds, which is plus 144 odds. Okay, so you can essentially see how much money people are willing to bet on teams at certain prices. So it's really powerful as long as there's people using the exchange, right? Exchanges are only useful if people use them because it's peer-to-peer betting. So otherwise, there's no information if no one's betting on them. But luckily, the Betfair Exchange is very liquid. It's very active. So it's a great source of information, right? You'll also notice that right here, right? There's no VIG on these exchanges. So if you're able to use exchanges, they're very profitable, right? Because you can arb them because there's, there's almost no juice on them for the active markets compared to the sports books, right? So a better way to put that. And finally, we can go through the last piece of this example. The Astros are minus 141. So the way you can kind of see that, and of course, it's constantly moving around. It's an exchange, so it's constantly ticking. These numbers are updating. But the Astros are lay all at 1.74. So if we go ahead and we put that in here, 1.74, what this means is someone is willing to get the Astros for minus 135. Okay? For how much money was that? 670 bucks, right? So essentially, you just want to use this odds converter calculator on OddsJam to kind of convert these decimal odds to US odds, and then you can see how much money people are willing to bet on teams at certain prices. And of course, you can do this for any baseball game. Like here, for example, it's like, okay, there's some guy out there willing to bet the Orioles for 531 bucks at 2.138. So we put in that, it's just plus 138. So you'll get quicker at these conversions between decimal odds and US odds. But same thing here. There's someone willing to bet the Guardians for 1,422 bucks. So that person must be pretty confident in the Guardians because that's a bigger bet, right? 1,422 bucks. So we can go ahead, we can put that in here, and someone's willing to bet them at minus 133 tonight, right? So very low juice markets, minus 133, 138. So what you can actually do is go to a VIG calculator and you can put in the VIG. Like, let's just look at DraftKings, right? They're giving you the Rangers plus 130 and the Astros are minus 150. So if you put that into DraftKings, they have 3.5% VIG on MLB money lines. You put in Betfred plus 135, minus 160. It's 4%, so it's even higher. You put in the Betfair Exchange, plus 138, minus 141, because it's peer-to-peer betting, 0.52, right? These exchanges have very low holds, very low vig, and you can bet a lot of money, right? So there's actually there's an exchange launching in the US, at least one, I'm not sure, And they're very exciting, but this is kind of how you use them. And even if you're not betting on them, like of course, if you're in Europe or something, you could have placed this ARB at plus 144 and minus 141, right? You could have ARB'd this. But if you're not in Europe, you can still use it as a source of information, because what I'm looking at as a very profitable, sharp sports bettor, and we can see this bet has 1.82% EV, $5,000 bet. So our bet is 91.50 in profit margin. So pretty excited about that. But what you'll see is like, hey, there's only 6 cents, right? Like this plus 144, I apologize. It looks really good to Pinnacle's market, which is a very sharp sports book. It looks really good to Bet Online's market, another really sharp sports book. And then it looks amazing to Betfair as well, which is a really sharp betting exchange as long as there's people betting on it, right? As long as you're close enough to game time and the markets are active, it's a very valuable source of information. So hopefully you found this video helpful. You know, it also looks good to all these other books. And let's make some money.